Okay, get this. Hey, Xander, is that a fact that they shine Shaq Leonard? Okay, done deal. Let me put this out here, linebacker. Pretty smart move by the agent, too. So the Eagles now, here is the fourth spare part on your defense. Zach Cunningham, Christian Ellis was a free agent. Nicholas Morrow. You made a trade for Kevin Byard, and now you have Shaq Leonard. Do you ever draft anybody off the lines that are good? I mean, honestly, do you guys ever draft a linebacker or a corner or a safety in the last 10 years that's been good? I mean, you have to go make moves like this because Howie's inability to draft. Do you understand? His inability to draft and his inability to player develop is the reason you're in this shit. Shaq Leonard's not a savior. You need to sign him. Christian Ellis is terrible. When's the last time you guys drafted a linebacker that was worth the shit? Tell me. Did you just cut a third rounder this offseason? Didn't you cut a guy that he drafted in the third round? When has he ever drafted? Maddox, okay. Corners, never. Linebackers, never. Edge rushers, not really. Every guy on your defense was somebody else's. That's not awful. To recognize your mistakes. TJ Edwards, you didn't draft him. You found him. 10-2 means shit after that ass beating, don't you think, Arthur? Look at Arthur throwing the 10-2. How embarrassing you should feel. So a 9-3 team kicked a living tar out of you, and you're throwing 10-2 out after that annihilation? I couldn't wait for someone to be an asshole and throw that 10-2 out. 10-2 meant nothing to the Niners. They jammed it down your throat. Kevin Byard was terrible in that game. I mean, Keon goes, you're going to have the best record. Not after next week, you won't. Not after next week. Do you really believe? Hey, here's my take on Shaq Leonard. And because he had a great conversation, and I told you last week because he played for Frank Wright. And Sirianni was in the building, and the relationship helped a lot. If both Eagles and Niners are healthy, who wins? I just don't think you have a good enough defense to stop them. I really don't. Going to post his 10 minutes on Shaq Leonard. Here's what I say about Leonard. Leonard his agent wanted to wait and see what happened after Seattle on Thursday night and also what happened on Sunday, 49ers and Eagles. It's a brilliant move because you're going to get the most desperate. And after the way the Eagles performed, especially at linebacker, there's no question the Eagles, in my opinion, paid more money because they're the more desperate team at that position than what Dallas was. It's a brilliantly played move by Shaq Leonard. Now, here's the key. Here's the difference between him and Robert Quinn. Okay? Robert Quinn was running out of gas. SHAQ Leonard is not out of gas. His issues have been injury related. This guy's an all-pro player. And Nick has a relationship with him. Frank had a relationship with him. All of those guys. And SHAQ Leonard had a conversation with Frank Reich last week. And I told you that because I talked to Frank. What's it like playing in Philly? You're going to love it. It's player friendly. You can go there and raise your value. Okay? If Howie signs you, he wants you, which means he could want you next year if you come in and become an impact player. You got to remember something about the Philadelphia Eagles. Here is the one thing you always have to remember compared to Dallas. When you go to Dallas, your value, it flops. When you go to Philadelphia, it raises. And here's the examples. Kaiser White, $1.5 million last year with the Eagles. Signed a $7 million per year deal in Arizona. TJ Edwards was making $1.4 million last year as a starting linebacker for a football team that finished number 2 in defense, had 159 tackles. He's now the NFL's leading tackler, making $7.5 million per year. Miles Sanders probably signed one of the best contracts for a running back, making $7 million per. Value increased. Go down the list. Look at Epps with the Raiders. Hell, look at even Andre Dillard, who lost his job. Look at Isaac Seumalo. Every single guy that was a free agent either was re-signed in Philly or your market value increased. Let's say this to you about Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham, for instance. Those guys were waived by teams. Even the Eagles cut Nicholas Morrow. However, those guys probably gave themselves another 2 years in the league because they've been some type of impact. Hey, where would you be without Nicholas Morrow? And he's not very good. Zach Cunningham was not awful. Was not awful. So when you come to Philly, look, think about this, for instance, too. Look at even A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had pedestrian numbers in Tennessee. 63 catches, 1,100 yards, 900 yards, stuff like that. He comes to Philadelphia. He's a 90-catch guy, a 1,500-yard guy, and now this guy's considered one of the top 2 wide receivers in the league. You think his value's high right now? You think he's a $20 million guy? I don't know. He may be underpaid now in today's market. Absolutely, SHAQ Leonard's playing. You have no choice. Here's the problem you have, though, in communication. Look at the problem that Nakobe Dean's decision. Get this. I'm not really ripping Nakobe here. I'm ripping Howie. Howie Roseman is in a position heading into week 14 that he created. You relied on a guy who played less than 40 snaps last year. You put the green dot on him thinking that he was going to be able to not only, I don't even know, and I've said this before to you, I don't even know if the kid's good or not. I just know he can't stay healthy. And that was something that came out of Georgia when he was drafted. Would Frank Reich as an advisor make a difference? Yes. Jalen Hurts respects Frank. Why? Why does Jalen Hurts respect Frank Reich? Why do you think? You guys know? I've said it to some of you on here. Why would Frank Reich be a good advisor to the head coach right now? And why would he be good for Jalen Hurts? Why do you think Frank Reich, if you brought him in? Rivers. Diego, exactly. Rivers. Philip Rivers is the person that he studies the most. And Frank was the offensive coordinator in San Diego. And the wide receiver coach was, of course, Nick Sirianni. And you want to know how a guy goes through progressions? Shit, man, I'd like to bring Phillip Rivers in as a consultant for Jalen Hurts. He watches more film. From what Frank tells me, that's all he does is watch Phillip Rivers film. He just sits there and watch Phillip Rivers all the time. Okay? Keon goes, Rivers never won anything. Neither has Jalen Hurts. 10-2? What's it mean? You got annihilated. Your 10-2 record means nothing in a race like this now. And by the way, here's something. I'm not really all that pissed except for the bullshit running game. For whatever reason you're not doing. You got a trash defense. LJ's crowing about being 10-2 after he gets taken apart by a team in his own building. And the only guy that wanted to hit anybody on defense was the Big Dom. Yeah, you won't be in first place after next week. Not happening. Not happening. Okay? Not happening. You play defense like that, you'll lose to Seattle. I mean, you're are you ever going to run the ball again? I'm open to bringing in whoever can help at this point. Niners demolished us. We need to regroup, bring in Reich. Here's what I would say. Here's what I would say to you. How do you go into Dallas after this? You've got to have selective memory on this one. You got to just, I think you watch everything you didn't do on defense. What was the biggest and most glaring thing that you took away from that game on Sunday? What was the biggest takeaway? What was the biggest takeaway? Let's do defense first. What was the biggest takeaway on defense? Look, are you going to run into a team that has those kind of weapons in the NFL? If I'm not mistaken, doesn't Seattle have two receivers from a year ago that had 1,000 yards apiece themselves? Don't they have two wideouts? They actually have more talent than Buffalo and Kansas City. They're probably going to be the second most talented offense that you're going to face in this next run. I don't even think Dallas has a number two like Seattle does. Is that fair? Don't you think Seattle has two better wide receivers? You know, it's funny. 11 goes, Seattle sucks. Your defense blows. You're making yourself seem better after ass destruction. Now, let's be fair here. San Francisco, you just don't have the people to cover them. I mean, once they figured it out that they attacked the linebackers, once they figured it out, it was over. I would make this point to you. One more thing about Shaq Leonard too. He's a veteran. Will he get up to speed in time for the Cowboy game? Let's see. Monday. Okay, because they're playing Sunday. They had a late Sunday, so he's probably in the building looking at film, getting his playbook, taking his physical. I think he took a physical last week, if I'm not mistaken. He's already probably in preparation. Tuesday's Players' Day off. He'll probably do some more work, come into the building. Frank Reich was Eagles Super Bowl offensive coordinator, correct? Wednesday, they'll get the game plan for Dallas. Hey, did Indianapolis play Dallas this year or last year? It'll be different because this year they've got Mike McCarthy as the coordinator. So I don't know if Leonard's gone against a Mike McCarthy offense. He may have gone against Mike McCarthy when McCarthy was up in Green Bay. Seattle would be Dallas only if they use DK Metcalf. He was killing Deron Bland for a moment. I thought that was A.J. Brown on Seattle. He was murdering Bland. Bland got exposed, I thought, in that game. Thank you, Carson. Okay? Well, Frank, Seattle's not a joke because they have the weapons to beat the Eagles. See, do you want to know how to fix your defense? How do you think you fix your defense against the Cowboys? How do you fix your defense? You guys know how to fix your defense? New coordinator? No. Ray Lewis? That would help. Blitz and play man? No. Run the ball. There you go, Eagle. Run the ball. Run the ball. Be more patient. Brian Johnson is not a patient coordinator or whomever is calling plays. Still, so you worried about Jalen Carter's immaturity? No, not on a team like the Eagles. They'll keep that shit in bay. I saw Nick talking to him. I thought that was a good moment. Less 3 and outs would help. That's exactly right. Keon, the only way you can help the Eagle defense right now is keep them off the damn field. You've got to keep that offense more in sustained drives. Don't you see? Get this. Don't you see that's what San Francisco did to you? They ran 57 plays. They ran 57 plays. You ran 69, and they almost had 500 yards in offense on you. How much of a difference will SHAQ Leonard make? Gary. He's a body. He's experienced. If healthy, he could make a ton. Now, my question, hey, by the way, there's no coincidence that your run game is starting to fail. Why? Because your linebacker play is failing. Did you ever put those two together too? The whole middle of your defense is falling apart. It's falling apart. Jordan Davis has never played this amount of reps in his entire career. And now we're getting past the 13-game mark. How many games do they play in college football nowadays with the playoff? 14? We're coming up to the game here. But here's the difference. When you play 14 games in college, you got a month and a half off in between the SEC title game and the national championship game. You have a month and a half off. You're week after week here. Trust me, it's a thing, man. It's a thing. My rookie year, back then, we were only playing 12 games. You got to week 13 and 14, you couldn't believe how beat up your body was then. You could not believe how beat up you were. You just couldn't believe it. And you were trying to do everything to keep yourself as healthy as possible. Okay? Hey, I appreciate it, guys. We're having a little issue here with the net here. It's going to come back here in a second. So we appreciate everybody in here with us. But hey, guys, end of the day here, this is all going to come down to health. I'm going to say it again to you. It's going to come down to health. On who's the healthier team in January. This Dallas game frightens me, though. You need this Dallas game more than you needed actually San Francisco. Because you still have the division. If you lose the game, then this is going to come down to teams that may slip up. You're a beat-up football team right now. You're a beat-up football team. May I throw something out at you before we take a time out here? What in the world ever happened to Nolan Smith? Is he on the roster? Where's Nolan Smith? Is he where does he play special teams? Is he a factor at all on your roster? I mean, where is he? You need pass rushers right now. Where is the kid? He was out there, Sills? Was he really? I didn't see him. He played? This guy's the 31st pick in the draft. Where was he? Jesus Christ. If you're a first-round guy, Jalen Carter, I see him. I see that guy. Angelo Cataldi's going to join us at 3:30. Guys, don't forget, the month of December, we're so looking forward to our friends at Hooters. By the way, we got some great news for you. How'd you guys like to come and see Big Sills this weekend? Saturday, King of Prussia. Looks like we're going to be there. And we're going to have an appearance out there. And I'm going to go see my great friends, Gary and the folks there, and Phil, the owners of the King of Prussia. By the way, they have Northeast Hooters from Rhode Island all the way down through King of Prussia, New Jersey as well. You can go to northeasthooters.com to find a location nearest you. The Hooters bonus bucks are back. You know, these Santa bucks are back, man. They've had these for such a long period of time. $5 gift cards you can get for a stocking stuffer. Those Hooter gifts, put them right there in the stocking, man. Really great. The calendars are out. There's $100 in gift certificates that are in each and every single one of the calendars. I think 9 of the girls are also featured from the Rhode Island all the way down to New Jersey through King of Prussia. I think 9 of the girls are also been featured in the 2024 Hooters calendar. If you don't want to go into the place, go hooterstogo.com. Take the food, bring it back to your domicile, your casa, your casa, and eat the food there. Watch Monday Night Football tonight. Great lunch specials. I love Military Mondays, 20% off to our great men and women who have served this country. Wing Wednesdays, 1983. We'll give you more details on that, too, for this weekend. Saturday, Big Sales is going to be in King of Prussia. NortheastHooters.com. That's NortheastHooters.com. What's next? It's the Cowboys. How much what we saw exposed the Eagles on Sunday? I want to hit on that. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.